shake your waist.
Welcome back to the Twist of Fate podcast, where you will find your inspiration to make your dreams come true, which makes the world a better place. Today's discussion is actually about a very precious resource, creativity. Now, let me tell you something. If you're going to be an entrepreneur and you're going to accomplish the impossible, you're going to need creativity. But what a lot of people don't know, creativity is kind of like a roller coaster ride. There's ups and downs, wins and losses, pain and struggle. These aren't terms that most people associate with creativity, like we're design and all these other things. But I'm here to tell you, creativity comes at a price. And that is something worth fighting for. Today's guest understands this concept so well that I am so honored for him to be here. Mr. Blake Lewis.
Hey, man.
Musician, vocalist, and American Idol alumni. Welcome to Twist of Fate.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You honor me, my friend. And I am so happy as a younger man and seeing you in your art form in youth, but seeing the man in front of me, like, it's progress, brother. It's progress. So I'm really pumped about that. Okay, so like you maybe we can talk a little bit about, as a musician, music comes in so many shapes and sizes, right? Like some people are songwriters, some people are, they're into instruments, some people are all synthetic. Is there a category that you would put yourself in, or a category that you aspire to be?
Wow, I mean, a great question. I inspire to create as much as possible, and I get my inspiration from everywhere. Sound, I mean, the sound of this room is a reverb that, as a producer, I can recalculate and, put in a song. So people are rhythmic. People think they can't sing, but you can snap your fingers, you know what I mean? So I find just little nuances everywhere that make me want to create, whether that's being inspired from today. I could hear a sound and I would want to put it in a song, sample it on my phone. And so I'm just constantly creating.
If you don't mind me asking, like in your mind, were you born a musician or did you train to be one? How do you categorize?
I feel like I was born one. My mom was a bluegrass singer, and rock singer, and at an early age, I started singing at 5 and making a lot of noise. I grew up on a street with no kids to play with. I had one friend, and he would only visit his grandparents who lived next door once a month. So I was just constantly, just watching cartoons, playing with my toys, making noise. I had like a little drum set, like really cheaply, Fisher Price kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just constantly making it up as I go,
Does your mom still sing?
She does. She has a great voice and plays guitar. Yeah, fantastic.
No duets?
We duet around Christmas whenever we see each other with the band, you know what I mean? So when she comes to town, she's like, can we work on something? I've recorded a couple songs.
Hey, Mama Lewis, we love you.
Hey, Mom, shout out.
Okay, so then you had mentioned you started with Fisher Price with drums, but then you obviously expanded because you're gifted in so many instruments. How did that happen? Like, did your parents gift you things, or did you ask for things, or did you keep building things?
Mainly because I asked, but basically we moved in '89 to a street that had like 22 families, you know what I mean? And just kids my age, older, younger. And I was just like, hey. I was like that annoying kid that was just like, can I be your friend? Because I didn't have any. I was going on 9, 10, and I was just stoked. And a lot of kids had piano lessons. So I was like, I want to learn piano. And that was around 11. So that was like a year or two after we moved, probably 90, 91. And I fell in love with piano. I fell in love with saxophone and pop music. And just all the time, I was always singing.
80s kid. Alternative rock and all that.
Well, that was later, you know what I mean? Like I'm like more 80s I liked the synths. I liked, Depeche Mode, Duran Duran, U2, The Police, huge influence. And you gravitate to what your parents like, you know what I mean? And my dad was definitely like Dire Straits, Police, and my mom was like Reba McEntire, like very country, but bluegrass and like, more of that 70s rock. A lot of female, like Ann Wilson kind of.
So at that time in the 90s, you said that you enjoyed drums and piano, especially. I'm just curious, were you more like a sheet reader and you play what's put in front of you, or were you doing improvisation at the time where you were making it as you go?
Man, these are great questions. I was definitely a bad sheet reader. I was always improvising, always using them as tools. You know what I mean? It was like the melodies in my head, the voices in my head. Couldn't escape. I was always doing cartoon voices. Like I do voiceover. I'm a voiceover actor.
I didn't know that.
And before even
you hear it,
my development, I hear things, and I don't have perfect pitch. I have just relative pitch, but like tonality, cadence. I fell in love with rhythm. My parents would never give me a drum set, but they got me piano, and that was first. That was like the first, initiation into the musical world of me allowing myself to create melody.
Could your mom sheet read?
My mom could read chords, guitar chords and stuff. I don't think she ever read tablature or anything, but I didn't get into guitar. That was her thing. So I played piano. But then all these like rockers, once I developed more, got into high school, I was like, okay, I should learn guitar too. I mean, that's just another tool to create songs. And so I would say around like 9th grade, I started playing guitar, 9th to 10th grade. And then in high school, I saw an a cappella group. During that time, I joined a professional choir, and we toured to the UK and Wales.
Like a church choir?
Yeah, like a chamber choir. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, oh, we like sheep, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Joyful, joyful Lord.
You do it because at the time...
I was just obsessed with all music. And
it wasn't a religious thing, like a faith
No,
thing.
not at all. I mean, I went to so many churches and that's a whole nother story. I was fascinated with the religion. I went to a Mormon church, a Catholic church, non-Protestant,
Any Baptist church?
Once or twice, yeah, for sure. I was fascinated with it, but mainly because they were singing, and that was just my calling. So I joined.
I grew up in like a God-fearing, like Black Baptist, where people get the Holy Ghost, and there's like a nurse on staff because people are passing out. And one thing I would say, like the choirs there, they would just blow me away.
Untouchable.
You've experienced this?
Oh yeah. Some of my dearest friends are like the most amazing gospel singers. So, yes, I've been very lucky and honored to experience that. But in high school, I found my voice because I had good training. I was in this outside school called Columbia Choirs, and we got to tour, and that was when I was 13, and I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. I got away from my parents. I'm in the UK. I'm singing.
But that was singing predominantly, right? Like you weren't playing music.
Yeah. I gotta sneeze. Excuse me.
Can I ask this? High school.
Of course, it's not gonna happen when I'm gonna sneeze, and it's not happening.
Did being musically gifted in high school, does that get you girls? Does that get you popular?
Definitely not. First of all, I was the annoying kid in class, the class clown. I could dance. I did get best dancer in my high school graduation when they were giving the awards. I was very happy about that. I was like the musical kid, the choir kid. I was the loner that was like, would go to like, if you were in the cafeteria, it'd be the jocks, it'd be the popular kids. And I would go to everyone and be like, yo, what's up? Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up? Still that kind of like.
You felt like a loner?
Maybe not a loner, but like in the class of like the choir geeks, drama geeks, like I was in there. if I was in a part of anything, for sure. But I always felt like an outsider or unique in my own way because I didn't have any friends until I was like 9 or 10. You know what I mean? So there was always that like, and I still have it to this day, like people pleaser, imposter syndrome kind of vibe. And I got to vibe check myself all the time. You know what I mean? Like why?
I'm shocked to hear that you would have imposter syndrome at all. With your musical background, no, I don't believe you.
Well, I you know.
Really?
It comes, it's weird. It's not like hugely, but in certain rooms and.
Because you're a pedigree musician. I mean, like you said, you're enjoying the acoustics, and I can tell. That's like, you're into it.
Yeah, but that's where I feel like, I don't know, I hear things differently sometimes, and I get in my head about things just because I think just from an early age, it's like always instilled in me that I have to do everything myself, you know what I mean? And the best creation is done in collaboration, I think. So that's something I've had to learn along the way because I was always like too proud and I was like doing this myself all through my journey, you know, for the first 30 years of my life, let's say. And I didn't even find myself, to go back to your question, I thought it was a loner because I didn't really fit in. I never really thought I fit in. So I kind of would just do my own thing too. You know what I mean? It's kind of cyclical. It just kind of comes back around. And I didn't really find myself till I found beatboxing, which was in high school. I saw this a cappella group and I was blown away. I was like, I've been doing that subconsciously my whole life. Like,
really?
You know, just my whole life beatboxing. Not knowing it was called beatboxing. I was just watching Michael Jackson as a kid.
And the beat. Yeah.
You know, kind of that kind of thing, you know? And I was a skater, you know, I was like I said, I was trying to fit it and do, you know, see what avenues, you know, you're a child growing up, seeing what fits. And it's always just music. Music sucked. But I had other interests. I had photography, skateboarding, rollers, blading at the time, aggressive blading and stuff, which was super fun. But music stuck. And as soon as that a cappella
But
group,
beatbox was in the crowd, but it didn't stand out at the time.
No, because it wasn't anywhere.
Yeah.
But at that moment in time, like 97, Rozelle came out on the scene with the Roots, and my world changed. And before I saw him, I saw this a cappella group, and Matt Selby, was just like, you know what I mean? Like the figure, like just unlocked something instantly. Like the light bulb clicks. Like he's doing that with. You know, I'd seen other a cappella groups growing up, but not like this.
Yeah.
This dude was doing subharmonics.
Yeah.
You know, which it was very new. Like beatboxing was a thing in the 80s in groups and ciphers and cliques. And then the 90s kind of came around and it was nowhere to be seen, you know. And there was Rozelle, Kenny Muhammad, Click the Super Latin, Scratch. You know what I mean? There was these people out there I didn't know about. And I saw this a cappella group and I was like, oh, they're beatboxing in a cappella groups now. I want to be in an a cappella group. You know what I mean? Instantly. Hip hop.
Which was an amazing time for hip hop at the time.
Insane.
I'm just,
so
you
good.
know.
I mean, and at that point, like.
I mean, the rap game's always been interesting, but that particular time period, there's like iconic albums happening.
Insane. And then you have the Roots, which, I mean, I think Black Thought's goated. I mean, I think he's one of the best of all time to do it. But I saw Rozelle. It was
Did you meet any of these people?
Oh yeah, I'm friends with them. Yeah.
We're gonna get to this.
Yeah. I performed with Roots. I perform. You know, being
special moments. These are special moments because you grew up watching these guys.
The imposter syndrome comes out. And it's like, what am I doing on the stage with these legends? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, so high school happened. I found that junior year of high school, and then people noticed me. It was like all of a sudden they're like, my really hyperactive ADHD, annoying, cracking jokes, making sounds, like pranking people in the classroom, making the teacher laugh, turned into a focused energy. And people were like, oh, you're cool now. Or like you're acceptable. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It wasn't until after high school where I'm on the stage with I was on stage with Del the Funky Homo Sapien at a sold out show, beatboxing for like 15 minutes while he freestyled. And there was tons of people from my high school and they were like, yo, you're rocking with them?
Let me ask you, at what point did beatboxing become like, you're like, I can do this. I want to, like, not just like casually perform, but like, I'm going to tour, I'm going to do things.
It was literally an obsession as soon as I saw that a cappella group.
Oh.
They were called Impact, and they made an impact. I wrote that in a lyric on my last album. It changed the game for me.
But to become a professional musician,
I was already hearing things in a broad matter. This took rhythm to another level because it pinpointed my subconscious to like, oh, I can make those sounds with my mouth. Because I've asked it for a drum set forever because I knew I was naturally rhythmic. And my parents said, hell no. and so they for one Christmas they got me an amp and a mic, and it was game over. Like my dad thought there was a drummer in the garage when he was pulling up to the house one day because it was so loud I had it cranked, and I was just like, just. And he's like, what is going on? It was over from then.
Could I ask you one thing? Could your parents, would you say, I mean, up to this point, they've been very supportive. 100%, yeah. But when you decide to make it your profession, or like when graduation day comes, they do what?
Okay, so I started opening for this a cappella group because I told him they had another show a week later. I just unlocked level 1. You know what I mean? Go into level 2. In a week, I had reached level 6.
Ah, gotcha.
In a week.
You're a hit.
And the beatboxers, Matt's like, how did you learn this in a week?
Sure.
And we became instant friends.
AI is a very interesting topic. The real American way is to embrace change. It is possible that many of us one day will work for an AI. Get used to it. If I wanted to invest in AI, what's the best way to play it? I don't know if you checked out the AI Drake is a better lyricist than the real Drake. Would you go to an AI church congregation? AI is coming, whether you like it or not. Invest in it. Get jobs in it. Embrace the change. So you didn't get hit with the pressure of like, go to college, get a job, do this, do that.
I would like I was saying, I was like single. My parents and I have an amazing, open, honest relationship. And I said, I'm not going to college. I'll work for a year. I'll find what I want to do. I've always manifested and believed that the universe has a way of showing me a path, whether it's good or bad. Usually good if I'm manifesting positivity. And I don't know what it was going to be. I never know what it's going to be. You never know. You can't predict the future. But I was like, okay, I'm going to raise some money. I didn't want to go to college. I was like, if I go to college, I go to music. Do I want to be a teacher? No, I don't like I don't love it. I do teach. But it wasn't my path for me. I was like, how can I make this a thing? And right out of high school, within 6 months, that a cappella group, Impact, Matt left to go work for Disney. Because he wasn't just a beatboxer. He arranged all of the music, badass singer, badass beatboxer. And he wrote all, not all of it, but like, he's a G. And now he runs Disney. Like, he's like
executive.
He's an exec. And so he left right after, a year after I met him. So he was leaving. So this other beatboxer that was in this group called Kickshaw joined to be their guy. I was like, I want to be the guy. But I was, I was 18. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they were touring?
Yeah. They were incredible.
So this is the first point in your life you started traveling and all this, right?
I'm not touring then. At that moment, I meet up with Matt, and he was like, hey, I'm leaving. I'm going to Cali. But this a cappella group, I put a call into them. They're looking for a beatboxer. I said, you're the guy. So here's the number, call it. I went, auditioned 2 days in a row. They're like, you're our guy. And the first month as a professional musician, I had 32 gigs.
Oh, wow.
With them. And that was like 4 months long of like from June, July, August, September, packed.
At the time, obviously, a lot of people on this podcast have business interests, or maybe they're thinking about starting a business. At that point, did you think okay, this is the kind of money I can do this the rest of my life, and like, or was it, maybe I haven't got everything figured out, or?
For me, no, I had no business sense at all. On top of that, I was rocking with a rap group called Unexpected Arrival, which I wrote 2 of their singles, one that ended up on the radio with Twista. We had a #1 in Seattle, and I wrote the hook, and I had no publishing. I didn't know about that stuff. Otherwise, I would have been making money. I stopped messing around with them because they weren't like even paying me at gigs, and I knew this guy in high school, and I was like, I wrote your single, like, you know what I mean? Like, so I stopped, and at that time I was hosting 4,000 people raves. Like, I was the MC beatboxing. I battled Qbert on stage, turntablist versus beatboxing. You know, rocking nonstop. I was doing everything. You know what I mean? And at that time, I'm developing my own show. You know what I mean? Like, I was B Shorty in Seattle for.
So it was paying the bills. It
was paying the bills. It wasn't great. I moved out. Immediately got my own place. But I was still going back to my parents because that's where my studio was. You know what I mean? I built that. So a year and a half out of high school, I built a studio in my parents' barn, and you know, a little 10 by 20 thing. And so
you put the amp, you put all the stuff you had in there.
Yeah, I bought my own drum set. I got a loan out, computer, you know, all the things. And I wanted to DJ a lot because I was hosting these raves, but I was like, oh, maybe I can DJ too, because I was in love with drum and bass and breakbeat music. You know, I was just obsessed with it. Obsessed with electronic music. I liked rap a lot.
So like Ronnie Size and like
nice. Yeah, LTJ Bukum and BT, Chemical Brothers, Prodigy, you know, Orbital, like 95 to like, because I was into this in high school. Like I was like I thought I was the only electronic head in high school, but I come to realize that my friend's brother was like a big DJ in Seattle. When I saw her at a rave like 4 or 5 years later, I'm like, what are you doing here? She's like, I've been doing this since I was like raving since I was 13. What do you mean? I was like,
you just didn't know. Like,
yeah, because we weren't close friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
So at what point do you say, I'm going to go out of Seattle, which has its own scene, but I got to go to like the big musical centers. Like, I got to go to LA. I got to go to London. I got to go.
Honestly, it was random opportunities through the electronic scene, the hip hop scene. I started going, I did beatbox battles. I won Vancouver, Canada, Seattle, Portland. So I was like making a name as B Shorty, going up and down the coast, doing these like mini performances basically. Because beatboxing was just kind of like, it was the evolution. Like 80s was a certain sound, 90s was a certain sound, and now we're in 2000, and like throat singing, like tube and throat singing, that vibe was peaking its way in. I'm like a vocal scratcher, so kind of like that kind of thing was my style. Inward snares became a thing. You know what I mean? If you get in the beatbox culture world, it's just like incredible, especially now. Like it's like legendary. It's insane. It's like it's insane. So it's crazy because I've been doing it for 30 years. You know what I mean? And these kids that have been doing it for a week now are crazy. You know
I had never expected when you were coming in that you were into beatboxing that long.
Yeah.
I thought it was like an American Idol thing. I thought it was like...
No, well, the thing about that is like, I literally only beatboxed 30 seconds in entirety on that show, but they showed that 30 seconds 900 times. So everyone's like, yeah, that's what he does.
Right.
So in the beatbox community, I wasn't getting love because they're like, it's just a gimmick to him. I'm like, it's not a gimmick to me, dog. Like, I've been doing this my whole life. They're using it as a gimmick.
Did that hurt?
To promote the
show.
Did that hurt? Yeah, for sure. And people apologized, you know what I mean? Like, Roselle was stoked about it. I brought Dougie Fresh on the show, which gave me a lot of credibility. And then naysayers were like, oh, he's legit, you know? But at that time, like, beatbox.
Why do American Idol? Why'd you, like, look, you were popular. You were doing all kinds of stuff. You could have kept doing that.
Like, that's a can of worms. I didn't want to do it. I'd never seen the show in my life. I disliked immensely reality television.
That's not the culture, right? Like that.
I didn't even watch TV. I'm a cinephile. Like all I did was watch movies. I would go to movies. I'd rent movies. That's what I did my whole life growing up. Like they were my good friends. You know what I mean? Movies kind of like was my thing. Movies and music, hand in hand. You know what I mean? Cartoons, especially doing voices and animation and being in that world. But ask me the question again. Sorry, train of thought.
American Idol.
Oh yeah, why?
In LA, you still haven't answered why you know.
Well, it was because American Idol. So, circling back, my acapella group had a reunion show because I ended that after 4 years. 2 years later, 2.5 years later, I guess 2 years later, we have like a reunion downtown Seattle, a place called Triple Door. And get done with the show. It's 10 o'clock at night. My friend calls me, Aussie. I used to work with him at a club. He's like, I might be coming with me. I'm auditioning for American Idol tomorrow. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, no thanks.
You had heard of it though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've heard of it. It's so funny. Out of everyone I knew in musicians, literally my best friend watched it with his girlfriend, and another dear friend, best girlfriend of mine, watched it. Only 2 people in my life had seen that show, and they were like fans of it. But that comes into play later.
And they didn't think about you? They didn't think that, oh, wow, you can go on there and win.
No, because they knew I didn't like that kind of stuff at all. Yeah, you know what I mean? They're like, no. People would audition and not even tell me, friends of mine. You know what I mean? They're like, he doesn't care about that. And if they didn't make it, then it didn't matter anyway. But long story long, because this will be long. He called me. He convinced me. He's like, I'll make sandwiches. I'll pick you up. Blah, 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 blah. We have to go wait at Key Arena, but you got to fill out the paperwork first before you do that. I was already downtown. I was like, okay, only because I'm already here. Because I live 25 minutes north. I'm not going to go home, come back down, go home, come back down. So I'm like, all right. I went there, signed up. He picked me up at like 5:30 a.m., 6. We had to go stand in line with 10,000 people, and they didn't let us in for 2 hours, and it was dumping rain. And they were like, I was like, oh man. Because I knew television production. I was also a part of this comedy, semi-attached to this comedy troupe called Cupcake, which was improv comedy, because I love comedy. And
you still like improv?
Oh my God, I love it. Yeah. So I apply all of it to music too. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I'm a freestyle improv lover, you know? So we wait in line, we get inside, we do the thing. It's just like, and I'm like, why did I say yes? And then one of the producers like, hey, thanks for coming today, blah, blah, blah. Thanks for doing that. You know, like, we built this city. Like 10,000 people are singing that. You know, it's television. I already knew television. I knew cameras. I knew, like, I know how it works. I know how things can be edited. But it's American Idol. And if you get on the show, it's live. I'm like, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Saturday Night Live is like my favorite show. Mm-hmm. I mean, Living Color was my favorite show. Mm-hmm. But it only lasted 5 seasons.
Phenomenal show, by the way.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
SNL's 50. You know what I mean? I've been watching it since I was a baby. You know what I mean? So I was like, live, that's interesting. So I said yes. I'm like, okay, if I can make it on the show and it's live, then I can represent me. 100% me.
Are you an entrepreneur in training? Perhaps a business student seeking academic accreditation? Maybe you're a business leader trying to climb that mountain. See, I know I was one of them. Or perhaps you're a small business owner navigating the challenges economically of our time. Perhaps you're just a fan of the Twist of Fate podcast and myself, Doug Young. Well, today I have a proposition for you. Consider joining our exclusive premium membership subscription service called Twist of Fate Insights. You see, Twist of Fate Insights is an academic lecture series led by myself based on university curriculum that I've been developing as an adjunct professor over the last 5 years. For only $5 per month, you'll have access to this lecture series that will cover the areas of marketing, sales, innovation, and personal development. We have built this program around 4 key modules: where to play, how to win, when to adapt, and what to believe. Throughout these lectures, I'll be covering popular topics like AI and Crypto 101. Also, how to fundraise like a champ, crowdfunding, and more. Twist of Fate Insights is my love letter to the special entrepreneurial community to make higher education more accessible, more affordable, and convenient for all. I hope you find your own twist of fate and the inspiration to make the world a better place.
That was the only thing. The only thing. Besides, I was like, oh, but I could meet my inspirations because this is the biggest show in the world ever of all time. That's crazy. Those were the 2 things. No strategy.
Were you confident that you would get far along, or did you think you could end up in like Final Four and all that?
No, not at the beginning. The beginning was just a cattle call. You know, that's what they call it. They literally, like, the producer's like, well, the cattle call. I didn't think I was going to get past that. You know what I mean? That day, the producer's like, all right, well, we're doing it different today. We're going to go from backwards to forwards. So whoever signed up last gets to go first.
Oh, man.
So I was just like, cha-ching. I was the in and out right after, even though we were already there for like 3 or 4 hours waiting. But I got in and out. He had to wait for another 8 hours, and he didn't make it. My buddy that brought me, that convinced me. Oh, sorry, touched my mic. My buddy that convinced me to go with him. So I like felt bad. I'm like, sorry. It literally is like you go up there, you sing for 30 seconds. They're like, yeah, you look cool.
What
like,
did you sing?
I just sang Sunday Morning by Maroon 5, I think. Like, if you looked cool and like, because it's 10,000 people.
It's a certain look. I know what you mean.
Yeah. There's these little pods. There's like 12 of them with 12 different producers, and it's 4 at a time to get through the day. You know what I mean? So they're seeing 10,000 people. So you like come back in 2 days, and then it was 500 people. And then you done with that, you like come back in 2 days, and it's 200 people, and you come back and, you know, then they select maybe 40 from each town.
Was it all based on singing, or was it also dancing at that phase? Or
no, yeah, it was all singing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, vibe. You write down all your accolades and everything, going through blah, 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 blah to Paula, Simon, and Randy, talking about beatboxing and editing and stuff. What I sang, they didn't show. What I sang that got me through, they didn't show because they didn't have the license. They didn't have the publishing for it, which is another whole thing that you have to realize about live television or any kind of television. Anything that's on it has to be licensed. I'm like, oh yeah, that sucks. Like all the songs I want to sing, I can't sing. You know what I mean? So look, this experience, I was like, I called my choir teachers and talked to my parents and friends, and I was like, yo, I think the universe is putting me here for a reason. And I'm just going to go with the flow, because that's what I always did. And I was like, I'm just going to say yes. I'm going to let it
see
in.
where it goes, right?
I'm going to let it in and see where it goes. You know, and all my creator friends were like, what are you doing, dude? And I was like, dude, I have no control over this. I'm just saying yes and being me moving forward. You know what I mean? What will happen? What will happen? You know what I mean?
One of the wildest rides of your career?
Oh my God, it was insane. It was so surreal. And I was like determined to like soak up every aspect of the opportunity. And that's where I think my superpower was when I was there. Because I had no strategy, but I said hello to every single person, asked them what they did, the grips, the lighting guy, the director, every person in the band, everyone behind stage. Like, oh yeah, what do you do? Cool. Like, because I love producing. I produce events, produce music. If I could be a director, like someday maybe I'll direct something. Who knows? You know, I just love getting people together and like accomplishing something is huge to me. And this is the biggest show of all time.
It is. It is. And I want to actually bring something to my audience's attention here. Blake, in his story, notice he had the vision to understand that an experience as big as American Idol, but there's like a greater vision and a greater journey that what happens beyond it could be based on networking, to every person, which I say is network every day of your life. You were doing that. You were doing that naturally.
Yeah, because not as a person trying to network, I can't do it. But if I'm like, here's my opportunity. So when I finally made it like through Hollywood Week and it goes to live, it was like, oh, this is real. And my two besties are like, blah, blah, blah. She's like, oh yeah, we gotta like make signs called like the Blaker girls, because like Paula was a Laker girl and stuff. And I was like, you're blowing my mind right now. That's genius. And what am I getting myself into? I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, but you know, because it was always like a thing. I was like anti-TV and reality and this stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, this isn't scripted. This is like me being myself, doing what I love. Yeah. How can I represent that and stay true to form, be good to myself, you know? And luckily, the first 3 weeks of American Idol, they let you sing whatever you wanted. Mm. And they never did that for some reason. And I don't think they ever did it again. But my season, they're like, pick whatever you want. And I was like, oh, okay, I got to really come out the gate and represent my voice, what I love. And I was the only person to do a ballad the first night I got on stage, because they kept showing beatbox clips. Mm-hmm. When they didn't show, I got a standing ovation for like singing, and my solo performance at Hollywood Week, they didn't show any of that.
But that could work in your favor, actually, because
it totally did. Yeah, but at the same time, I was angry about it. I was like, mother.
Like, payback. You wanted.
I was like, yeah. So, and they wanted me to beatbox the first night, like come out the gate. I'm like, this is a singing show. Like, yes. And I've already battled, like, because I was good and my voice was okay at the time. You know what I mean? I'm a vibe guy. I'm not like going up against a gospel singer. I'm like white, crispy, man, you know, you know what I mean? Especially at 25. I was 25. So I just had 5 years of touring, doing all the most crazy. I already had accolades. I already sang on dope stages with legends. Mm-hmm. You know, beatbox with legends.
So it was frustrating you as a creator of music to be put into a box. Like, they're looking at you as like, this is beatbox is the best you got, but you're like, wow, I want to express myself.
Yeah, for me it was like, how do I explain this? How do I stay me inside the box without despair?
Sure.
How can I represent who I am as a creator, as a vocalist, and what do I want to get out of this experience? There was no strategy except to nod and say thank you, because I bit my tongue because I have a mouth on me. Mm. And so I was like, okay, this is number one, Blake, to myself, like, just say thank you. Like, be grateful for this opportunity and don't take any of it for granted. Mm-hmm. And so with that outlook, I literally can say that I had the best time on that show as a contestant than anyone that has ever been on that show. Mm-hmm. And because of that and relationships, I did myself, because as a producer, I was the first person to do his own arrangements on that show. A couple in my cast were doing the same thing, but I was getting the love for them. You mm-hmm. know what I mean? Because mm-hmm. they went off. It was great. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very thankful that people enjoyed my renditions of songs, because I put the love into it. And they liked it, you know, mm-hmm. and I'm not.
And you're still in touch with some of these people today, right?
Oh my God,
like, you guys were friends.
We got a group text. We text all the time. Yeah. I just stayed with my friend Gina, was on my season in Chicago with her family. I just wrote with Chris in Nashville. He's a big Nashville songwriter. You know what I mean? It's all family. It's all love. You know, because we went through the same thing. It's like they chew you up and spit you out. You know what I mean? We're contestants on a television show. At the end of the day, it's just a TV show. Corporate got to make their bottom line, you know what I mean? And for me, it was like, how can I?
But would you go as far to say, because you had a lot of respect from the communities you cared about before that. Yeah. But American Idol also was kind of like a launch pad for you too, right? Like, 100%, yeah. After that, I mean, you've done a lot of different musical things after it, which I do want to highlight. So what happens after American Idol for you?
Okay, so the aftermath was crazy. The last week, the finale was like the worst week out of the whole experience. I got to represent myself, fully myself, until the last week. They're like, you can't arrange this song. And I bit my tongue, because that's what I told myself I was going to do, but I didn't want to. I wore a Vote for Jordan t-shirt. They made me take it off. I was going to stop the song I was forced to sing and be like, peace out, America, thanks. You know, I appreciate you for bringing me this far, but the producers won't let me be me, bit my tongue. And that's like one regret I've had since, you know what I mean? It's like, that's why did I bite my tongue in this situation when I knew it was wrong what they were doing to me, you know what I mean? So that was that. As soon as those curtains close, American Idol's done.
You're not a quitter. I mean, you know.
I'm not a quitter, for sure.
Yeah, like you wanted to see it through. I mean, I'm trying to get some empathy.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But that last week and the following weeks were just like, whoa, where am I now? Because the experience is over. You're done. Now I'm on, you know, Good Morning America performing and talking with them. I'm on The View. I'm on Ellen. I'm on Late Night.
Were you prepared for that kind of exposure?
Hell no. Hell no. I was like, even this is still tough. I don't love talking about myself. It's not my favorite thing. I would rather be on stage singing.
I understand that.
You know, I can tell a story that I've written. You know what I mean? Doing this is an improv that I don't love.
Yeah, but it's a gift you should share with a lot of the people watching that may end up in a situation that they're boxed in for their creativity, and they may not know a way out.
You know, for me, it was like learning to ask for help again, because I was on this like journey where I was like, this is my journey. You know, I'm letting the wrong people in because I'm in this box, and these are the people that control the box. You know what I mean? It's just like, they want to unwrap the present. You know what I mean? You're just like, hello, I'm down here. So it's like really going back and finding trust again, because got off the show. I was signed to a management that kind of could care less. I liked the people. They were nice, but they were also like double dipping. They were taking 40% of what I was making. And then I had an agency that could care less. I'm like, I do voice acting. They're like, what? We don't care. I'm like, you're the biggest agency, CAA. You're Jeff Frasco.
But they view you still in that box.
Yeah, man, it was so crazy. And there was so much hype, but then they weren't listening to anything I did. And I was like, I literally just proved myself to millions of people and the biggest producers of television that me being me is the best outcome for anyone that deals with me in any kind of lighter situation. And you're basically discarding the last entire year that I just did. And the same thing with Clive Davis. I got signed to Arista. He's notorious for testing albums. He didn't test it. He just threw my single out there with a music video that I hated, that I did not like the director. I thought it was shitty, terrible. My first music video for Break Another. I was stoked because I produced the bridge of that song with Ryan Tedder of One Republic. We almost did the whole album together. You know what I mean? We developed a great relationship, bond, homies. And they pop, One Republic. I'm doing shows with them. CAA couldn't even get me as an opening act on a tour. I'm like, how am I like the most hyped person on a television show and I have no tour? I don't go on tour till a year after my album's out. That's career suicide. I didn't know that I could have made the tour myself because I'm like signed to these freaking people. I literally had to I had to fire everyone to get control.
In all fairness to you, there were examples of people that self-published or did their own labels and stuff, but it was still wasn't that common. And a lot of them that did it, they were big people. 2007
and 8. Yeah. Definitely not. No, they're independent artists, but you know, it was a struggle, you know, because at that moment, you know, iTunes was the biggest thing. There was no Spotify. MySpace, like they controlled I got my MySpace back. I put some money into it, like create a dope one, and then it like basically crashes and it's gone. Now Facebook's the thing. But coming off that show, they controlled all of that. So I didn't have any of that. So you couldn't build a fan base then. The iPhone just comes out 2008, like, or end of 2007. Game changer. You know what I mean? I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry.
I want to know a little bit more about, there's a point after this that I sense you're starting to battle back for your own creative originality. Like, you're starting to now come to your own and say, hey, I'm not dancing to your tunes anymore. Like I'm creating my own. So
Yeah.
I want to transition to that.
Okay, well, so yeah, from the darkness comes the light, from chaos comes clarity. And that was a really chaotic moment of time. 2008 to like 2010 was so dark. I owed my lawyers money. I bought a house that I had to short sell immediately because the economy collapsed 2 months after I bought my house. It was just, I didn't know what depression was. I've always been a happy-go-lucky, go-with-the-flow kind of person. And I started having panic attacks and anxiety, and I didn't know what was going on. And at that time, like, I didn't trust anybody. I wasn't talking to my parents. I wasn't like my friends. I was smoking weed, drinking like 2 bottles of wine a night, eating PF Chang's, getting fat. You know what I mean? Just putting on weight, putting on depression weight. And I was like, I'm just going to move to California. And I got 2 bags, my dog, got in my freaking 87 Cadillac Coupe de Ville, skedaddled to LA, and was on my friend's couch for like 10 months and just like really trying to reset. Signed to Tommy Boy in New York, famous dance rap label. Thought it was going to be a thing because like the aftermath of my first album, Audio Daydream, I made my record label so much money. They dropped me. Didn't really have a single. It was just kind of like, no one wants to F with you at that point. Tommy Boy did. I'm glad they did, but it kind of just, it was like the same thing, a cog in the wheel. I'm like, these should be the singles. I was right, but they did it in a bad order. And it went to number 1 twice. My song Heartbreak on Vinyl was about the industry collapsing, about record stores closing. It was kind of like the start right then. It was like me and Gaga on Billboard, 1 and 2 battling on the dance charts, dancing on the dance charts, I should say.
I love it. And you felt this was your way. This is like your love letter to the industry. Like it needs to change. Like things are
100% love letter. Right. Heartbreak on Vinyl like means a lot to me. I was in New York walking past, seeing Tower Records close down. My session was in a half hour. And I was like, and I would always go there to get my import, exports, all the stuff. That was a massive store. And I was like instantly, like, I basically, Heartbreak on Vinyl is about Easy Street Records, which in Seattle there was 4 of them. And at that moment, like literally within the next 6 months, 3 of them closed down. And so it was my love letter for, the DJ, vinyl.
You know what's scary? This trend of a lot of outlets for creativity, it's continuing. Like if you look at Hollywood right now, I'm seeing in the film industry, video game industry, there's kind of like a creativity void that's starting now. Maybe you don't see it because you entertain all the time, but
yeah, I don't see it. I'm away from LA right now. I don't see it as much, but I do see it in my friends that are creators for sure, and what they tell me where they're living. You know what I mean? Like in LA and how everything's changing right now. I mean, with birth of AI and people stealing things, copyright, IP, all that stuff. The fact that there's no legislation in Congress for this stuff is insane. So.
Random question. Would you listen to an AI composer?
I would listen to it and critique it and be like, this is probably crap right now, but like in a year from now, I'm sure it might sound great. But would I listen to it? I mean, no, not like be like, I'm going to look it up and listen to it, but I'm sure I'm going to get fed it in some speaker somewhere because some company doesn't want to hire real artists.
So real artists, the voice, the culture, where they come from, that still matters to you. It's important.
It does. I mean, if we get in the whole AI topic, that's crazy because I mean, I've used it to make a flyer. You know what I mean? I used to make all my flyers, and I tried ChatGPT for the first time the other day, and it did an okay job. I had to like redo a lot of the work, but it was a time saver and it's a tool. You know what I mean? So it's like, do you go with progress? Do you not? The people that don't usually fail. 9 times out of 10. So
you recognize that?
Yeah, I recognize. I love technology. So it's like, are you going to be in the past? Like, are you going to watch a black and white television or are you going to watch 4K HD?
Right.
Why would you? You know what I mean? I love black and white. I still watch my black and white movies.
There's some black and white shows that I would rather watch than a lot of the crap.
Yeah, but now they're upgraded to HD. You know what I mean? Like, so, Is
it the same?
You know what? It's an interesting question because I was watching Edward Scissorhands on Blu-ray, and it's so clear. You can see the makeup, you know what I mean? And it kind of was, maybe I was high too. This is a while ago. And I was like, maybe I was too high overthinking it, you know what I mean? But like, I'm like.
For me personally, since we're on that topic, I think some things are just better left in the past. The way we remember it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing about nostalgia too. It's like you have this, your senses, like you could have you see something visually and you can smell it. You know what I mean? Like, and you might not if it's coated, coated in a different gloss, you know what I mean? That it might not bring back the same feeling, provoke the same feeling.
Whether you realize it or not, you still have fans out there.
I do.
You still have people still rooting for you and fighting for you.
I do, and I love them all, man. Especially, I'm the kind of person that talks to everybody. I usually, if it's a good question, there's the internet is a crazy place.
Yeah.
But on my Instagram, I usually use that the most, and my Facebook, and I talk to everybody. You know what I mean? And I get people like a couple times a week that are new, that are like, "Oh my God, like I found you." Like, it's not hard. Yeah, I'm right here.
In some of the projects you're currently doing, maybe some of them are watching. What would you want to update them on, like what you're doing that you're very passionate about?
Right.
And I'm going to talk about this, what you brought in.
Yeah, for sure. So, man, I have so many projects. I am a leader of a big band called Fat Cat Swinger, the co-leader, vocalist. That's brand new. Just got off on tour, super fun. Like if you.
Where did you tour?
We did Florida, Texas. Where else did we go? We did Montana. We did lots of LA.
Good turnouts?
Great, yeah, especially because this is like a new touring band. Great agency, great manager, boutique, and we're doing all like the performing arts centers. Imagine if like Frank Sinatra, Bruno Mars, and like Brian Setzer were together, like high energy, like crooning, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a fun project I have. I also have a duo called The Private Language, which is more like lo-fi, funk, liquid drum and bass kind of poolside vibes. And that's signed to Black Hole Recordings in Amsterdam, a dance label. I'm working on 2 EPs for myself because usually all my albums I always look at it as kind of a mixtape. It's kind of all over the place, but this time I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have my dance side, my synth side on one, and then more my serious like songwriting, more honest songs. You know?
Are you self-publishing these?
Yeah, depending. I mean,
I know you saw the Amsterdam one.
Well, I licensed one of my songs to Republic Records. This is like 10 years ago now, and I had a big global ad campaign with Microsoft. So for my song Your Touch, and even now, it's been a pain. I'm like, why did I do that? It was kind of the last thing of like, I'm not gonna F with record labels ever again, because they just, even in their best light, they're still gonna go after their bottom line. They don't.
Well, they have to, right? They have shareholders.
Especially now, because look, record labels are turning into management teams because the industry's done. Like Spotify killed it. You know what I mean? Like I just got off. I have to use it as a businessman. I have to use these things for my fans. You know what I mean? For me to be a good businessman, I mean, I had Tidal, Music, Amazon, Google Play. Like, I need to know these things. I had a big business meeting a while ago with people when.
You got to use it all. I agree. You want your music out.
You need to know how you are being represented.
Sure. Understood.
Like on my Apple thing forever, it was like the worst bio. I had no control over it. All this thing, I'm like, yo, this has nothing to do with your company. You're using my stuff to make profit. You know, so you got to back channel all this stuff. You got to find the metadata. It's just exhausting doing this yourself. So after I fired everybody, then it's like, oh, that's what they were good at. You know what I mean? That's where they were doing their job, and now I have to learn their job. So being a musician now, being an artist, being on social media, you have to be the chameleon. That's what one of my albums is called, Portrait of a Chameleon.
Can we look at this one?
This one's Wanderlust Unknown. This is by the wonderful artist 1000, who did my album. Big YouTuber,
beautiful cover.
amazing creative artist, and this album's that's for you.
Hey, my brother, I appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
And listen, incredible story, incredible life.
Dang.
Like, listen, the best thing that I can see here for me is that the life after American Idol, you didn't succumb to letting that be the peak. Like, I see you still, doing what you love.
I can't stop. I can't stop. Honestly, I mean, yeah, there was, you fumble, you have speed bumps along the way, and you get past them. You know what I mean? And I'm way past that. I mean, that was 2007. That's almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's insane to think about. I've grown a lot in areas I never thought I would grow in. You know what I mean? And that was a game changer, and it was also a wake up call, a fast wake up call of like who I want to be, I got to represent myself at all times in the best way possible. And like I said, stumbling along the way, there's no rhyme or reason to this life. You know what I mean? We just got to move forward with positivity and hope you're making the right decisions, And I feel like I have. Moving to Vegas was interesting too. You know what I mean? This is like a new chapter of the journey. I've been here 4 years now. I have my own residency at the Fontainebleau. 1 week in a month, I'm usually there if I'm not on the road.
So that's where the fans can, if they're local.
Yeah, fans have been flying in. It's crazy. I had this amazing, fun night doing originals and covers, and Fontainebleau's been great. It's a place called Nowhere Lounge, and then this new band. Like, I'm always saying yes to things. Like, there was a time I was saying no. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't sure of myself. You know what I mean? I had to find myself again. And we talked prior to the interview, just like getting out of your own way, like getting out of debt, like all the things that like, it's like the past. Now the past is in the past. My bitterness towards things that I was bitter about or people is just kind of gone. You know what I mean?
For you.
The resentment.
Good for you.
And gratitude has replaced the resentment.
I want you to know this, my friend. This album that you gave me, it's not lost. I'm an audiophile. Yeah. My audience doesn't know, I played the saxophone for 16 years. I actually can sheet read, but improvisation, I'm not like you, but I'm going to play this record on my Martin Logan home system.
Ooh, all right.
For my boys, for my children.
I love that.
Because I want you to also feel from this interview that music and the gifts that many of you give, it's forever. It's legacy. The record executives can't control that.
That's true.
So if my fans and my audience wants to get in touch with you or drop you a note or a vote of encouragement,
I love that.
Where do they reach out to?
Anything /Blake Lewis at Blake Lewis comes to me, and I literally on there at least twice a day. I try waking up, do my day, get on there for like 10, 15, half hour sometimes, and and engage and say what's up. You never know the opportunity that you're going to have with someone, whether it's tangible in your face directly on the sidewalk or online, nowadays. So I really encourage people to say hello and, say what's up.
Thank you for being open and sharing your story. And with that, I'm going to go to my final thoughts. If many of you out there are in the category of creator, composer, musician, songwriter, if you're behind the scenes for any production, listen, I hope you take one thing away from Blake today, that don't succumb to the expectations or the box that society puts you in, the record industry can put you in, even the people around you that even care for you can put you in a box and actually put you in a negative space. As you heard here, it's about optimism, it's about legacy, it's about sharing your gifts with the world. I hope to all of you that are in industries that maybe are trying to find their way of being creative again, it's up to you to break out that box and shatter the establishment and go through. With that, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Share, like, subscribe. We're trying to get stories of great American entrepreneurs like this one to you to help you make the world a better place. With that, I will see you on the next Twist of Fate.
Twist of Fate is hosted by Doug Younger. It's produced by Julian Sepulveda and Zachary Davis at Mode of Motion Advertising and Film. Special thanks to all of our Patreon members. And if you want to be a part of our growing community, join our Patreon and get access to bonus material, Twist of Fate merch, and more. If you enjoyed this episode, please like the video, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.